Here we are, another episode of Let There Be Talk. It is Monday, July 15th. Welcome aboard for another adventure and some audio ear pleasure. I hope you find the show pleasurable. I hope you enjoy it. Of course, I'm sure you do. That's why you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Fantastic guest today. Continuing on with my programming of having comedians on, as I talked about, of course, at the beginning of the year. Wanted to have some more comedians on and dive more into the business that I am in 24/7 of my life. And I'm really enjoying talking to people that I work with all the time. I don't get to dig way into where they come from or what they're all about because we see each other passing in the hallways of comedy clubs. So I've been digging this, and I think you guys have been too by looking at the numbers of downloads. Anyway, great guest today. You want to talk about a fantastic comedian. Taylor Tomlinson is on today. T-Tom, as her nickname is. She is my guest today, a very, very funny comedian. Started when she was 16 years old. How amazing is that? She's 25 now and just tearing it up out there. She's done all kinds of great stuff. Last Comic Standing. She did New Faces at JFL, which is very prestigious. She's a lot like myself, passed at the Comedy Cellar and the Comedy Store. She tours all over the place. She's had a Netflix 15-minute special. And she has a brand new show on Fox called What Just Happened. And it's with Fred Savage, who I remember very well from a fantastic show called The Wonder Years, back when I was watching TV. Long time ago, kids. Wonder Years was an amazing show, and I'm sure you can find it out there. But watch Taylor's new show. It's really cool. It's like a spoof on The Talking Dead. It's on Fox on Sundays, and you can also catch it on Hulu for all you hipsters out there that don't watch TV. I don't watch TV. I watch everything just like you guys. In a hotel room, streaming when I got a few minutes. Let's see what this is about, and boom. Next thing you know, I'm hooked. I'm still watching the Mayans MC since I interviewed Emilio. I've been hooked on that. Anyway, I can't thank Taylor enough for doing it. She's done some great stuff. Her Conan sets, her Conan set was fantastic, and her live comedy sets are amazing. Go out and see her. She's on the road all over the place, out there grinding. Also, don't forget to check out Ian Edwards' special that came out on Comedy Central just a few nights ago on Friday night. You can stream that on ComedyCentral.com or some kind of app or whatever you got to do. Watch that special. Ian is one of my closest friends and one of the funniest guys I know, and kind of my comedy Yoda, which I need sometimes. When I have some tough times, I had some shitty sets last night, and that'll send you home laying there all night, tossing and turning, sitting there going like, fuck, should I keep doing this? What am I doing? Is anybody getting this? I used to be funny. That one's been digging at me since I lost weight. You know, I got big laughs when I was a fat comic. And I'm constantly questioning stuff. That's the process, as you hear Taylor and I talk about it here on today's episode. It's grueling, man, and it's real. And as much as I love it, I do at times think, fuck, what am I doing? But those are great feelings to have, I think. At least I'm feeling something instead of walking through life numb, which is pretty wild. I did get a pretty cool letter a couple days ago. I put it up on Instagram, and I was surprised how big it blew up. But it did touch me a little bit. It pulled on my heartstrings and it keeps me going. A guy reached out to me on Facebook, which I never look at Facebook. I don't give a fuck about Facebook, but I use it because I got to, as far as trying to promote gigs. As far as I can tell, it doesn't do shit, but I got to do it for some reason. But this is the good stuff of social media. Guy reached out. He said, "Hey, Dean, this is Mark. We went to school together. You won't remember me, but I hung out mostly with Chris Beardsley and Carlton," which are a couple names I haven't heard in probably 20 years. Two old rock and roll friends of mine. When you love rock and roll in high school and you're dodging the jocks, you gravitate towards other guys with stringy long hair and Iron Maiden shirts, and that was Chris Beardsley and Carlton. Anyway, he says, "I followed your band. We had some classes together, and I thought you were the funniest, most confident dude I had ever met. You're living the life I would have pictured you living. I just wanted to say congratulations on living your dream and life exactly how you want to. Most people don't get to do that. That's it, my man. Continue to enjoy." And it felt good to get that letter. It really did feel good. And a reminder, I am doing what I do enjoy, but I tell you, it is fucking hard. It is hard to do stand-up comic. Hard to do stand-up comic. It's hard to be a stand-up comedian. At 53 years old, you get tired. You're wondering, I'm not wondering if I'm going to get famous or anything's going to happen, but I keep wondering, am I going to be able to work next year and the year after and all that. But that shit you don't got to worry about, I think. Who knows? Could be dead in a year. Could be doing something completely different. I never thought about where I was going to be at 53 when I was 21, out going crazy, and here I am. So thank you, Mark, for that letter. Very cool. Very cool. Sometimes I need a kick in the ass. And let's get into some Patreon love out there. Patreon.com/Dean Del Rey is where I put up the bonus episodes. I'm up to, I believe, 41 right now, which is pretty cool. Jason Stratton, thank you so much. Ghost of California, awesome. Jacqueline Stratton, what is that? Is that your wife donating too? That's pretty fucking cool. Or your sister, Jason? Who knows? Or maybe you guys don't know each other. That would be weird. Anyway, thank you so much. And of course, Mark Brunot, always being the king of the Del Raisers, who I'm going to see in Las Vegas. Mark Brunot. Here's some shows coming up. July 18, 19, 20, Comics at Mohegan Sun. That's this weekend. I will be in Connecticut at the Mohegan Sun's Comics Roadhouse, 18, 19, 20. Then I fly straight to Vegas for a 7-day run, July 22nd through the 28th. The Nashville date has been moved to October 5th. Sorry about that, because it was moved there because I'm doing some dates with Mark Maron coming up here in August in Texas, which will be August 22nd, 23, 24. Catch me in Dallas, Austin, and Houston. All tour dates are on the website, deandelray.com. New York City, I will be back starting August 2nd through the 19th. You can see me at the Comedy Cellar most nights and the brand new reopening of The Stand. Yep, you heard it right. The Stand is reopening and I will be in there rocking and rolling. Speaking of my good buddy Mark Maron, I'll tell you what, I'm pretty happy for this man. He's got a new movie out and I can believe, but it's just amazing the glory he's getting and the reviews he's getting from big magazines and newspapers. The New York Times, It's New York Time. The New York Times and the New Yorker are just giving this guy big love on Instagram and Twitter. The film's called Sword of Trust. And I remember when Mark was filming it, he told me it was this cool premise. He plays a pawn shop owner who comes in possession of a sword that, to the network of deranged conspiracy theorists, proves the South really won the Civil War. So Mark gets this sword, and people think, oh, that's the sword that proves the South won, which is hilarious. Great premise. Anchoring a hilarious ensemble of peak improv comics, including Jillian Bell, Mark gives perhaps his best on-screen performance to date, and what critics are calling one of the best monologues of his career. I can't wait to watch this. I'm dying to see it, actually. As he and his ragtag cohorts try to take the seedy subculture for all it's worth and come out alive. From the award-winning director of Hump Day and Your Sister's Sister, Lynn Shelton, and featuring the original guitar score performed by Maron. How cool is that? He plays guitar. I can't even talk today. Mark Maron plays guitar. Sword of Trust finds not only humor but real humanity in a set of characters and circumstances just crazy enough to be true. Sword of Trust is now in theaters and on demand, with Mark and director Lynn Shelton appearing at select screenings. Visit swordoftrust.com for details. I'm telling you, this is pretty cool. Mark has had an amazing year, or last few years, other than the podcast and comedy, of course, being on Glow. And he just shot a movie where he plays a cab driver with David Bowie in the car. I don't know what that's called, but swordoftrust.com. Check it out. I guess that's about it. Don't forget to get that Jimi Hendrix book I was talking about the last few weeks. Baron Woolman's Jimi Hendrix book. You're going to get it half price if you tell him I sent you. Baron at baronwoolman.com. BARON at BARONWOLMAN.com. You're going to save over $100 if you tell him you heard it here. Baron's Jimi Hendrix book is sitting here on my coffee table, and everybody is digging it. It's photos Baron shot of Jimi, 68, 69, 70. Just a killer. I just love this book, and I love Baron. Check it out. Go to his website, baronwoolman.com, and you can also get some photos. He has the best photos. He was the first photographer for Rolling Stone magazine, so... There we go. We got all the business out of the way. Enjoy this number, 485. Number 485. I can't believe how many of these I've done. I am pounding on, and I love you guys. Thanks for your support. Keep the candles lit. I'll see you out there at the shows. Here we go. T-Tom is in the house.
Is it? And this is just talking, right?
Yeah, it's just talking. Just talking and rocking.
Nice.
This is the worst couch to podcast on.
It's a bad podcast couch.
Because it's like this.
You gotta sit pretty far back.
Yeah, and then the people get way too fucking comfortable, right? I'm talking to guys and they're like,
they're just nodding off. It's a deep couch.
Yeah.
Well, and if I scoot all the way back, my legs will be kind of dangling. Like
same with
Toy
mine.
Story.
I got shit legs too. You know what I'm saying? You know, when I got this couch, it was like this. I sat down and I go, oh, this is comfortable. And then you get home and you go, oh, this, like my legs don't touch the ground.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to do like crisscross applesauce, then this is a good couch for that. Crisscross applesauce is like, they used to say Indian style, but that's not appropriate anymore. So this is crisscross applesauce.
I never even thought about that. Indian style is not appropriate anymore.
Yeah. But that's what they used to say when you were kids.
Yeah.
And then now everybody's like, ooh, we said that?
Yeah, right.
But crisscross applesauce is like the acceptable
I've never heard the replacement. It's so like kindergarten.
It is kindergarten.
Okay, kids, let's say crisscross applesauce.
Yeah.
Imagine the person that came up with that. So fucking extreme from Indian style to complete white style is what they're. No one other than white people are saying crisscross applesauce.
That's true. Yeah. They're like, well, we want to change it, but we still want white people to be comfortable. So let's just make it insufferable.
Oh my God, that's funny. I've never heard that. I guess I'm just too old. I'm not around kids.
You gotta hang out with more kiddos.
I don't
like
hang
me.
out with my friends' kids. You know what I mean? I'm like, they have kids, and then I'm that friend they don't hang out with anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're like, Dean's too cool to hang out with our kids. He'll be a bad
that. They're like,
influence.
I've seen his act. He doesn't like kids. He's not gonna.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, I don't know. It's not that I don't like him. I never wanted one.
Yeah.
I never felt the need to have a family.
Right.
You're getting ready to get married.
We were, and recently we decided like it's probably we kind of rushed this because we're in our 20s. Like I'm 25, and we had some stuff that just made us go like, oh, like we've really only been together for a year. Like,
yeah. What are you doing?
This is fast. So now I'm in the process of like, for the last 2 months we've been engaged, and I've been doing these jokes about being engaged, and now I'm like, okay, I guess I got to write a bunch of new jokes about how I got engaged too quick, like, which is
just nothing but material.
Nothing but material. That's all my life is. It's an excuse to write material. That's all any of my sexual partners have been.
Was it mutual? Did you sit down and say, was it you, or was it him, or was it mutual? Like, hey, what are we doing?
I mean, it's hard to tell. At this point, it's mutual. It was like, I don't want to get too far into it out of just respect for him and like whatever. But we hit like a snag that we kind of thought we'd gotten through like previously in the relationship, and then it came up again, and I was kind of like, okay, well then I need to reevaluate some stuff, and kind of came to the conclusion like, okay, this is we just moved too quickly. And then the more we talked about it and are still talking about it, the more we're both like, oh yeah, like and I have a very religious family, and we moved in together, like, whatever, 4 months into being together, and they, were not happy about that. And I think part of the reason that I was like, yeah, sure, let's get engaged is like, I just wanted to be able to say, like, look, I didn't, I didn't just move in with anybody.
I'm not a sinner.
Right, exactly. It's like, I know I didn't do it in the right order, but like, this is the guy, you know what I mean? And, which is dumb because I've always been somebody who, and I talk about it on stage of like, it's so dumb to get married in your 20s when you don't know who you are.
Absolutely.
And, and even people who got married in their 20s.
That was in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
There was nothing going on.
Yeah.
Also, you didn't have to have 6 jobs.
Right.
So you actually, saw each other.
Yes.
And now it's just kind of like, it's just, I don't know. It's, and also marriage, I think, is such a weird, with the laws involved with it.
Yeah.
I still trip out on that stuff,
Yeah. And there's all kinds of like, I have friends who got like a domestic partnership and stuff, and they're still probably going to get married at some point. But like, I think that you can put each other on your like health insurance with that, without having to get like married.
Well, fuck, if you work at Starbucks, you could just have a boyfriend and they can go on your insurance.
Shut up, for real?
Yeah, as much as people shit on Starbucks, they give everyone health care, which is super appealing to me. At 53, I'm like, maybe I'll work here part-time. Can you imagine? Hey, weren't you on Conan last night? Yeah. That wasn't me. You're just lying. Not me.
Yeah.
Oh, we think I'd be working here?
I get that a lot, I have very Dean Del Rey energy, but I'm Martin.
Yeah, my name tag's just Martin.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And you're just so distinctive looking that like it would be hard for you. Like I kind of look like everyone. Like I get mistaken for like not famous people, just like people's cousins.
Yes.
And
Are you Sandy from Oklahoma?
Yep, exactly. I had an older couple come up to me in an airport as close as you and I are sitting now, and they were like, Jody, and I'm like, excuse me, and they didn't know until they heard my voice that I was not like their granddaughter or something.
I got this at the store a couple nights ago. Guy just walked up, Joe.
Really?
Whoa, I didn't know you were going to be here. And I was like more offended that he didn't know I was Dean Delray. Then, I was like, hey, dude, I'm going on next.
Yeah.
It was laughing.
He thought you were just his friend, like just hanging.
I always say I don't want to be famous. I just want to be enough known to where when I'm going to the cellar to do a spot, those barkers don't ask me if I want to see a comedy show.
Yeah. That's not too much to ask. You don't need like everyone at Walmart to know who you are. But when I'm in the place where I do the thing I do, it would be cool if those people knew.
Yeah.
I get
One
that.
time early on, I was out front of the store just hanging out. I think with Dalia, and this couple came up, and they're like, "You were fantastic tonight." And I said, I haven't gone on yet. And then the guy stood there and he goes, you don't have to be a Hollywood asshole.
What?
My wife and I just wanted to say thank you. And I was like, hey, I didn't go on. I don't know who the fuck could think I'm all tattooed up. I don't know anybody else in there that's covered in tattoos, but you might be a little drunk.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but they were angry and walked away.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah, and we were just standing there laughing, like, wow. I told the guy the truth.
Yeah, I've had people come up to me. I had somebody at a comedy club, I forget which one it was, go like, oh, we saw you, 6 months ago at Zany's and you were so great. And I'm like, oh, I've never been there.
Yeah.
Because there's like an improv in Chicago. So and I'm repped by Levity. And I'm like, oh, I've never been there. And they're like, I'm pretty sure it was you. I'm like, I don't know who you saw. I don't know what like brunette, white comedian you saw. But even then, like, I think there was somebody. Oh, when I did Conan the first time, there was a guy, like a camera guy or something, who came up and was like, oh, you're back, huh? You were here last week. And I'm like, are you thinking of Jenny Zagrino? Like,
you were here last week.
Yeah.
I'm that good.
Yeah, just all women are the same to them. Just like, oh, the same one. I'm like, there's more than one female comedian.
It's so funny.
It's so strange. So strange.
How long you been doing comedy? Because I don't really know who you are until one night we were I think it was like 2 years ago, we were at the Factory on a show together, and I didn't know who you were at all. I mean, did you start in LA?
No, I started in San Diego. I started in high school, and when I started, I was 16, and the first like 2 years I was in like it's weird to say, it's like the least rock and roll story ever, but I started like doing churches and like didn't do a club until I was 18 because I didn't, I'm like, I don't have an ID. I'm not going to get a fake ID or anything.
So what kind of open mics were you doing? Just church?
Just like doing like churches and like fundraisers and like coffee shops and stuff.
Yeah.
And and again, I was in high school, so I wasn't going up a ton those first 2 years, maybe like a couple times a month or something. And then once I turned 18, I went to college when I was 17 in San Luis Obispo, which like there's nowhere to do comedy out there, and kind of realized like, oh, I think I do actually want to do that like more seriously. And so I came back and went to school like near San Diego and started doing stuff in San Diego. And then I moved to LA when I was 21 because I got on Last Comic.
Oh wow.
And so what I did was
that the rebooted one?
Yeah, the very last season.
Right.
So when I was 20, I took like the summer off. I'd always taken summer classes at college and stuff. So I took the summer off to kind of like focus on comedy just to see what would happen, and then like got all these NACA conferences, and then I was like, okay, I guess I'll take fall off to do all these NACA conferences. And then I booked a bunch of colleges at NACA as I like just turned 21, which allowed me to like quit my job in school.
Yeah, it's good money, right?
Yeah. Just so dumb. But I was, they're college kids and I was a college kid. Yeah. So it was easy for me to relate to them. And like, I don't have anything to talk about that they wouldn't relate to because I'm not experienced at all in life. And then, I got Last Comic. They just like found me on YouTube. Whoa. Like my first week out on the road doing colleges. I got an email from one of the producers that was like, can you be at the Melrose Improv on Tuesday? And so I like flew back in to LA, went to the Improv, auditioned, and then like went straight back to the airport to go back to Massachusetts to do colleges. And like it must have been like their last round of auditions, because I found out like a few days later that I had gotten it. And yeah, once I got back from like that run of colleges, I moved to LA that summer when it aired.
Did you have a manager at the time?
I did, because I had done Laughs, and a producer on Laughs was like, you're going to do Last Comic? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure, because I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. And he was like, well, if you want to talk to, I have a buddy who's a manager, and it would be good for you to have somebody to like negotiate the contract and all those things. And so I just like went with this guy that I met, and had that manager for like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And yeah, I mean, and every year, this last year is maybe the first year that I've felt like, okay, I'm not going to have to go back to school. You know, like I just, for the last 5 years, it's just been like, well, this is, everyone's going to figure it out pretty soon. Yeah. And, you know, luckily things keep happening to where I'm like, okay, I guess I can stay, you know? But, but even now, I mean, I'm just, it's for a long time, I didn't know what to tell people about when I started, because I thought like when everybody started, they're going real hard right away. Yeah. And then the more people I talk to, I'm like, oh, most people weren't getting up every single night. Like from the second they started, like the first couple years were a little slower, which made me more comfortable to be like, yeah, no, I mean, I've been doing this for like 9 years and whatever. And also I felt like people were overly impressed, because they'd be like, oh my God, you're 20 what? Like, oh yeah, they always do that. Yeah. And then you go, well, I started when I was 16, and they're like, oh, well, that makes more sense, as opposed to like, it was actually, I thought it would make me sound,
oh, you're not the wonder kid 1 year in.
Right. Which is like so much more gross, I feel like, to people, if they're like, so you started when you were 24 and now you're past the story, you know, like that kind of thing. So, but it's taken a while to get over that sort of like insecurity, and like I still have like some imposter syndrome going on for sure, and it just comes from a place of like, I want to be like worthy of the opportunities I get. But,
I get it, man, especially in the world of jealousy and hate and stuff. Like, oh, fuck that, man, just get everything, fuck, I'm out here, you know. It's like nobody sees anyone's work, they only see what they want to see.
Yeah. Do you feel like a lot of that energy coming from people?
I don't.
Or you just know it exists? And
I know it exists. I know that if you're a hard worker and there's somebody that's not a hard worker, that you're really shining a mirror on them. And instead of them going, good for him, man, I just don't have the gusto or the drive, they just will be like, fuck that person. And I've never backed that at all. Yeah. If people, it's like, I always laugh at people if they're angry at me. I'm like, I'm 53 and white. I ain't getting nothing. We all have our own pain. Yeah. And it's not all, glory. Right. It's, I think the thing is, like I said, people also, like the Comedy Store, people can see cars people are driving and stuff. Oh, yeah. So they're like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah. That guy had a Corolla 2 years ago. Now he's driving a Lambo.
Oh, I won't even park in the lot. Like, I can't do it. Well, because then a lot of those guys that are store guys are like I started with them, like in San Diego. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going to like toss you my keys. Like I feel weird and shitty about that. Like I was talking to, Isaac Allen was saying, he's like, you should just park in the lot. And I'm like, no, like I'm gonna park far away and walk. I'm not gonna make you guys park my fucking Prius like with a scratch on the side. Like and I'm still so new there. I mean, I got past like a year ago, and I'm on the road a lot, so I'm not there a ton. Right. And when I'm there, like I'm terrified. I am terrified the whole time. Yeah. I just don't want to bomb. Like it's not someplace I'm comfortable yet, and like I don't know what it's gonna take for me to get to a place where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a paid regular, I'll stay in this. It's like, yeah, I don't even know where my name is on the wall. Like someone sent me a picture, but I've never like gone and found it or anything, because I'm so scared. A Cellar, I'm the same way at the Cellar. I was in New York last week, and I'm just like, downstairs in the hallway next to the door guy going like, can I stand here? Is that okay? He's like, no one's ever asked me that before. I'm like, so is that a yeah or
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I just don't want to be in anybody's way and give anybody any reason to be like, all right, well, someone thinks they're a little too big for their britches.
Well, I mean, you'll get over that.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, oh, this is just another club and I need to work material here.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I felt the same way for years, just like, whoa. And then after a while, you're like, we're all here for the same thing.
Yeah.
Trying to get funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, when you put it that way, you're like, oh, I guess it's stupid to worry about any of the other stuff.
Yeah. It's that small stuff. Who were the people that you were into? Who were the comics that got you going that you were like, oh, I want to do comedy?
Oh, gosh. I mean, Maria Bamford has probably been my favorite comic since I was, a teenager. I don't even think I knew what stand-up was until I was like maybe 12. Like, I was pretty sheltered, again, very religious parents. And I remember like listening to Dane Cook, like when we were in like 6th grade, but I didn't know what we were listening to. Like I didn't know what it was called. Like I didn't know we were listening to a comedy album. We never watched any videos. We just listened to it. Like any videos we watched were ones where they like animated his Kool-Aid bit or something.
Yeah.
But he was such a huge star that like we all knew what that was and would quote it to each other. And then like I think like 6th or 7th grade, I saw like a Comedy Time video and looked at the description and it said stand-up comedy, and I remember Googling it and being like, so I was like, why are they just talking into a microphone? Like, where does this even happen?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, and then the way I got into it is my dad wanted to take I was like interested in it a little bit, but not, I was never like, I'm going to try to do that. And my dad wanted to take a stand-up class.
He wanted to?
Yeah, like together as like a thing to do together when I was a junior in high school. And
where'd you guys do that?
At a church.
Oh, at a
from
church.
a church comedian. His name's Nazareth. He's a real guy. And yeah, that's where we took it. And then that guy teaching the class like kind of had me like open for him or do like gigs that you didn't pay enough for him to go do or whatever, because he's working comic. And it just kind of like things kept like coming up, and I really do feel like I sort of fell into it. But then once I did, it was like, you're just obsessed.
Yeah.
And once you like discover that there's all these free podcasts where you can learn everything about it, like,
oh yeah,
my first, because I never saw like a live stand-up show until like right after I turned 18. I made a couple of my friends come with me to the Ice House to see, this lineup's crazy. It was Eddie Pepitone, Maria Bamford, and Marin headlining. Wow. And I think like Nick Youssef did like a quick spot in the beginning. And like, it just like, cause before that I hadn't been to a club before. I'd only heard about it in like interviews and podcasts and whatever. And, I was kind of like, well, maybe I can just be a church comedian, because that's a viable option. Like if I had stayed a church comedian, I'd be making a lot more money.
Yeah, I heard those guys make crazy money. Somebody just told me this last week. I had no idea. This dude's making like 10 grand a show.
Yep.
Playing these churches, because these churches have all this fund and you just go around and do all these churches.
So much money. So
That's
crazy.
Wild.
And there's no like young people doing it. I mean, John Christ is, do you know who John Christ is? He's like pretty big now. And he's doing like theaters and things, but he has a church audience, and he was like the only other guy when I was doing churches that I could refer people to as like younger. And I mean, he's like 10 years older than me, but like there was no like young people doing churches. And so for me, it was like a very definitive crossroads where I was like, okay, I need to make a decision whether or not I'm going to do this. Cause if you're in it, you're all in. Like you can't go do a set and say, that guy was being a dick, like you'll lose a bunch of work. So I was like, okay, do I want to live that life? Yeah. Or do I want to like actually, do stand up freely, and talk about what I want to? But yeah, I'd never been to a comedy club before. And it was truly like, it was like one of the most, it was like a religious experience going to a comedy club the first time. It was like, oh my God, this is what it's supposed to feel like. You know?
It's so electric the first couple times you go. Mm-hmm. I mean, I early on, I saw like, Carlin.
Yeah.
So Seinfeld, many times I'd go see Seinfeld. I was obsessed with him.
Yeah.
And you're just in this room and you're laughing. You can't even believe it, how funny it is live.
Yeah.
It's like beyond. And then when I was watching comedy, I had no idea I would ever do it like 30 years later.
Yeah.
But I would always be in there like, how do you do that? That's what I always thought. How do you do that?
Right. And because you were a musician at the time?
What's that?
Because you were a musician at the time?
Yeah, and but I loved comedy growing up. I loved Saturday Night Live. I'm 53, so I saw the original cast, and I was into John Belushi and Bill Murray. And then I got into Jonathan Winters a lot and his stuff, and then Newhart, Bob Newhart, his show, Newhart, and I was so into comedy, but I just had no idea how you would do it.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the Bay Area, one of the comedy capitals of America. Yeah. But I just was playing rock and roll and just rolling.
Yeah.
But I knew that I could do it because I could make people laugh, but I was probably afraid and didn't have anybody to hang out with. There wasn't no camps or schools or YouTube.
Yeah.
I had no idea where you would possibly even do comedy except for the Punchline or Cobb's when I was growing up, or a big theater where I'd go see comedy.
Right, which seems so inaccessible. But I'm sure once you started doing stand-up, I mean, you already had such a leg up being like so comfortable on stage.
Yeah, that was the only leg up I had. And also the knowledge of I booked my own band and flights and gigs and touring and everything. Yeah. So I understand that animal also of like, well, I've got to do it myself because I don't have any agent or anything. So that came in handy. But everything else was all from scratch, boy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Because with a song, you just write like a verse, chorus, a bridge, and then the song is 5 minutes, but maybe your part is only a minute or so, or 2 minutes in the song. But with comedy, it's all you, only you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine being a one-liner comic. Oh, shit.
Do you like doing stand-up more than music?
Absolutely.
Really? That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Music looks so much better to me. I just have no talent for it.
No. It's absolutely music is it requires too many people. And once you get that in, it's then you've got too many personalities, too many things that can go wrong. You got one guy that's doing it for chicks. You got another guy that's all, drugs. You got another guy that doesn't even know why he's doing it. And then you got one guy like me that's just loves it. And you're carrying these people.
Yeah.
And look at
all your equipment.
Yeah, and the equipment. And, you got all this stuff of like, at least grinding as a beginner comic, it's just you and your drive. Either you do it or you don't. And you don't have to go for sound check.
Yeah.
You don't have to rehearse every night in some shitty box, in a warehouse. And I don't know, if I looked back on it, I'm glad I did play music, but I wish I would have started comedy just because of the ageism of what's going on. I wish I would have started at 33, right when I moved to LA. Yeah. Because at 33... that's like what D'Elia and all those guys were kind of like when I met them, their ages and stuff. And because when I started, I thought, oh, well, the guys I like are late 40s. So I'm late 40s. This will be great. Maron, Burr, guys like that. And then when you get in it quickly, you go like, oh, well, they've been doing it 25 years. Right, yeah. That's why the industry works with, Right, yeah. But I will say, I mean... for guys, I don't think it fucks you over as much as women. Like if you're going to start trying to get into the industry as like an older woman, like that's going to be fucking hard because we like expire. It feels like. I think that what's really weird about comedy was I didn't think there was any expiration date. I thought it was just funny. Yeah. If you're funny. people are going to
And
be
I think
there.
that's true for stand up. It's all the it's all the stuff
Right.
around. It's all the other
Exactly.
bullshit.
Just any kind of stuff you need, like
TV
an
and-
agent or a manager or
Yeah.
TV or any of that stuff. But in this day and age, what's great is the podcast,
Yeah.
YouTube, and everything. You could really make your own thing. You
Mm-hmm.
just have to work your ass off, and most people will tap out.
Yes, I think that's true. Well, and also, I mean, in another, I think, good thing about starting later is like you had so much life experience to draw from. I mean, where most people, when you start at 22 or fucking
yeah.
16, like you're like, prom is weird. Like
First
you don't,
boyfriend.
Yeah, you just don't have.
Virgin,
Yeah.
virginity.
Yep.
Roommates.
Yep.
My parents
Yeah.
could help me pay parking tickets.
Yes.
All that stuff that seems like the end of the world when you're in
Yes.
your 20s. Yeah, whenever I see a lot of young comics, it's like, And then
Yeah.
once in a while, you'll see somebody and they'll go, like you watch it and you go, oh, well, you're digging in. You
Yeah,
know,
I hope so.
There's
Thank
more
you.
than surface.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's it takes a long time to get there, though. Even with me, when I started out, I was doing goofy jokes and stuff because I thought it was just about making people laugh.
Right.
And
And there's
now-
nothing wrong with that either.
No,
Yeah.
I hear you, but it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It's not my personality. I was just
Right.
hoping to keep working.
Right. You're just trying to be the thing
Yeah.
that boogers want you to be. Yeah.
Well, you don't even know what you're doing. You're just
Yeah.
like, gotta get some big laughs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What? So Maria Bamford. Who else?
Marie Bamford, Brian Regan, who is like still just, I mean, he's everyone's favorite. So there's that. But I got to open for him for a little while, and like there's nobody like it, you could not have been less disappointed in a hero. You know, like when
Right.
you meet people you admire and they're like just not as great as you want them to be. Brian Regan's like better than you thought he'd be
Oh,
when you meet
wow.
him. Like he's
Yeah.
just like the nicest, most gracious, generous person.
Was that on
And,
Oddball or something? Or just
no, he
solo?
found me on YouTube too.
Really?
Yeah, he just saw something on YouTube and like their manager reached out to my manager at the time and was like, "Hey, does Taylor Tomlinson want to come open?"
Wow, he's just sitting around watching comics on YouTube?
Yeah.
I mean, I do it full time. I'd never watched a comic ever
I know.
on YouTube.
That's
at
what I'm
all.
saying. He's literally the greatest person.
Wow.
Where you're just like, oh, and you just like comedy. He'll like go out to comedy clubs after his big theater show to like go hang out with just other comics. Like, he's so cool. But yeah, I mean, those are like the type of people. Obviously, once I found like Marin's podcast in high school, it was just like, oh my God, like this is everything you'd need to know to do this.
The early ones.
Yeah.
Oh, those first like 40 episodes.
Yeah.
Those were so great. And you were just like, wow. And it really, you really got the inside. The curtain was pulled back on some of the craziness of what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
Like we were talking about too, with egos and people getting stuff before other people, and all this kind of what rules go on in your mind of the comedy world. It's really it was really helpful to listen to that stuff coming up myself too, because I've been doing it 9 years, 9.5 now. And that stuff was just monumental.
Yeah.
Couldn't get that shit anywhere. And stuff like that show where it was like Seinfeld and Ricky Gervais and Louis and those guys.
Oh, Talking Funny.
Yeah,
I just rewatched that.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When you're watching that and you're learning from that, you're going like, wow. Man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that kind of stuff is gold for us because we started in this era. Mm-hmm. You imagine starting in the 80s. There's no, like I said, there's no YouTube or anything. You just kind of were doing it, and you didn't know if somebody else down the road was doing like a similar premise or whatever. You know, you're like, everybody's in their own bubble and stuff, and then you go, oh man, I kind of have a bit like that. You're like, fuck.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is wild. Now it's just all out there.
Oh, it's so hard now because like you have to like you have to be aware of what other people are doing so that you're not stepping on anything.
Yeah.
But you also don't want to watch a bunch of stuff.
That's what I say, because then you just start dumping everything. You're like, oh, I kind of got something like that. Oh, I got this.
Right.
I got.
Or you don't want to absorb anything, like a line or anything. So like, I don't know. I was doing shows in DC, and Whitney Cummings was like filming her special, and she popped in just to do like a guest spot to like rework a wording on something because like there was another special that had come out, and she was like, there was like a similar example. It wasn't even the same joke. It was just a similar example. She's like, so I just want to run it. And I'm like, man, like, God, we all have to be so careful now that we're like, oh, if we both say the same reference, that's even like, it's just, and there's nothing, I guarantee you there is nothing new.
There's nothing new.
There's nothing
so
new.
You have to have the greatest joke of that thing that's going on, and then everybody else dumps theirs.
Right. And you have to get it on TV first. It has to be personal somehow. Like the whole like just getting by being observational. If you're going to be observational, like you have to be weird.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is why everybody's just minding their own lives for things. Yeah. Because even if someone has a similar bit, it's like, well, that happened to me. Yeah. So there's you can't, and if it happened to you too, that's fine, but like, or something similar, but you can't steal your own personal experience. And I think that's why comedy's where it's at now and why that's the trend. I
wouldn't even like to steal a joke. The only part I like about comedy is where something starts to work. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought of this in a coffee shop and I've been working and it's starting to work. Once it works, I'm bored. So I would never be interested in some other, that bit kills, I'm just going to start doing it. Because bits that kill, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fucking bored. I'm up there doing it. And it's only 6 months old. I always ask like veterans, like, how do you get past the 6 months because we go on every fucking night, so our bits could be 6 months old, but they feel 5 years old already.
Yeah.
And then you start getting in your mind of the people that work in the club. They're like, oh, he's up there going to work that thing again. It's like, it's only 6 months old.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I love that thing of writing the joke. Everything else, I'm like, I love performing.
Yeah.
I love that. And then writing it.
Right. Well, and I think the best part is just when you do finally get the laugh and it does work, knowing that the whole laugh is yours. Like, just having, like, even people giving you tags and stuff, like, even that's hard sometimes. Because it's like, if it's like better than something I would have thought of, I don't even, it just isn't going to feel good to tell it because I didn't earn it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, I've probably taken 2 tags in the 9.5 years.
Yeah.
2. And the rest, it's just, I'm just like, I'm more concerned in finding it myself. Mm-hmm. I love the treasure hunt, the mining for gold. I always compare it to panning for gold. You got that pan in the water, and all of a sudden something shiny starts to happen. You're like, oh shit, I got something here.
Yeah.
It's really, that's what it's about for me. And you'll go through periods where that doesn't happen, and it just gets like really brutal.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I feel like my writing process, I don't know how you feel about for you developing new material, if it's like steady or not. I feel like I'll go through like 6 to 8 weeks of writing, like more just adding like lines to things, or I'll think of jokes, but I won't think of bits. And then like every like 6 to 8 weeks, I'll come up with like a new bit or 2 or sometimes 3, and then that'll just be worked on for the next 6 to 8 weeks. But those like last couple weeks where I'm feeling like I haven't written a new bit in over a month, like I've lost it, I can't do it, and it's a cycle that has never gotten better. I always panic. I always think it's never gonna hit me again. And then you get a couple new bits and you're like, okay, great. Okay, I can do it. We're fine. And then you just got to live off of that.
Yeah, I felt like that when I started. I had the one big bit. I had this Radio Shack bit, and it was big. And then I had that Nuts to Butts bit. And for like a year, everybody was like, nuts to butts. And I was thinking like, fuck, man. It's cool that you got a bit that people know, but I was like, am I ever going to get anything that's bigger than that?
Right.
I remember talking to D'Elia about it once, and he's like, oh, yeah, he had, I think it was the drunk girls or hunting, deer hunting or whatever. A couple bits that were big, and I was like, did you ever think you were going to, he's like, just one day it happens. You're like, oh, finally. I've got a new bit that's bigger than those. And it takes a while because some of those bits really, it's like a hit song. It soaks into people and they love you for that bit, like a Hot Pockets,
Right.
And you just hope that you get something bigger than that. You're like, I don't want to be the nuts to butts guy.
But you'd be like so lucky to be the nuts to butts guy also. That's like the other thing is like, oh man, it must suck to do the same bit every time you go on stage and then you're like, oh man, but they haven't made like they have one bit that people come out just to see that bit and everything else is like a bonus.
Well, for me, I would go crazy. I wouldn't be able to do it.
You wouldn't be able to do it.
I wouldn't be able to do it as much as starving as I would be and stuff.
Right.
After a while, I truly just lose interest. I can't even do nuts to butts now. I was in a panic situation about 6 months ago. Not panic, but I was like, oh man, this set's going fucking weird. All right, I'm gonna whip out a classic here.
Yeah.
And it ate it.
Oh, that sucks. What was the situation?
It was just like one of those crowds where it was all papered room.
Oh, yeah.
And you had just, these shitty people over here, then shitty people here, and then a bachelorette party here. And I'm putting out fires, and I'm just trying to...
babysitting. You're babysitting.
Yeah, I'm just, oh, God, and no one's policing the room. The dudes are in the back playing video games, the security. And the sound's bad.
Oh, that's not even comedy. That's just jingling keys at a child.
That's all it is, You get some nightmare gigs out there?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. I mean, doing colleges was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
It was so bad. So many bad college shows that weren't even shows. They just, hired me to host their talent night where everybody's, from the fraternities and sororities and going up and juggling drunk and it's just a nightmare. And then they'd be like, okay, for the talent portion, Christy has to change into a tutu. So can you go out and tell jokes for 75 seconds? And you're like, this is a nightmare. Just a bunch of stuff like that, or not being able to get to the shows because they're in the middle of nowhere and it's the dead of winter and you're just sliding off the road. The first year that I was a full-time comic was just, when I look back at it now, I'm like, I don't know how I did that then because I couldn't do it now.
You're out there by yourself.
Yeah.
Just fly in, rent a car, and then do all these spots.
Yeah, for 3 weeks at a time.
And don't know where you're at.
No. Yeah, just driving through Pennsylvania and Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And flying some of the days, but just and I'd never rented a car before. It was fucking super expensive because I wasn't 25.
Oh.
And had never driven in snow. Just brutal. But it makes bad club gigs, having those really terrible ones where you're this isn't even comedy. So if you have a bad club show, you're well, at least we're all in a comedy club, at least we're all where you're supposed to be. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I mean, some of the bad comedy clubs I've judged, I've walked in and went, this fucking, and then it was fantastic.
Right. And sometimes you walk in and you go, this sucks, and it does.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but, much better than swinging a hammer.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Although some days I'm it would be nice to just farm and just be done at 7.
There is times where I think that I'm just man.
Yeah.
It's and especially if you do it every day, you're just kind of Ian Edwards always says something great because you do it every day, so you don't really see any progression. I mean, you do, but not like other people do.
Yeah.
So you're God, what am I doing? And then Ian's well, did you do Conan last year? No. Well, you did it this year.
Yeah.
Did you get past the cellar last year? No. Well, you did this year. So yeah, you're just going, and it's like small chunks of cheese out there to keep the rats in the game.
Right, and it's hard because there's always going to be people to compare yourself to on either side. There's always going to be people that make you feel like you're not doing enough because you go, oh, well, they're, only this age, or they've only been doing it this long, or, I'm similar to this act and I didn't get this thing. And then there's going to be also those comparisons that take you back down to earth of like, wow, how ungrateful am I that I've gotten all these things, and like these people over here who are also very talented and work hard didn't get any of those things. Yeah. So, it's a lot of, I think what's most exhausting about this job is just all the mental energy that goes into
that's what it is,
keeping yourself okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you go to therapy? I see a tweet about it.
Yeah.
How much do you go?
It depends, because sometimes I'm out of town for, a couple weeks, or I was filming this show and I just couldn't get in for like a few weeks. But when I started, I've gone like kind of on and off. I went a little bit in high school, and then I started going really seriously last fall. I did like an app because I was on the road so much last year. Yeah. And then that just wasn't cutting it. And then I started going really seriously and consistently like this past fall. And when I first started going, I mean, there were weeks that I went twice a week. Because I was just like, look, I just have to, this is where we're at right now. And then, you go, it ebbs and flows. And then I would go once a week. And then for a little while, I was like, oh, I can just go like every other week now and go back down there. And then something else will hit you in the face. And you go, okay, I guess I got to go every week again. And, it sucks. Like, it's expensive and it's hard. And it would be a lot easier to just not do any work on yourself. Yeah. But it does help. And, I have felt a considerable difference, in the last 9 months.
What kind of stuff you working on?
A lot of it, I was working on my relationship with my dad a lot, which has gotten better because he started going to therapy too. And so there was a lot of that, just a lot of stuff with like childhood stuff. I lost my mom when I was really young. And like it's annoying because you kind of feel like you should just get over it, because you're like, nah, well, you were 8, and it's like, yeah, but that's like, there's just these mom. Yeah, and it's just like these waves that kind of keep hitting you, especially as you like.
Would she have cancer?
She had cancer, yeah. So you like hit milestones, and there's always like this shitty film over everything you get or accomplish, because you're like, well, she's never going to see that. Or like, even like, finding the person you want to be with for the rest of your life, or getting married or having kids, like all that stuff. And she died when she was 34. And so every year that I get closer to that, I'm like, well, that's when I'm done. Like, that's when I'm out. Right. And I've talked to a lot of people who feel that way, who lost parents younger, or even if they lost them as adults, if their parents died at like 60, they're like, well, I have till 60,
Was it just you and your father? Did he ever remarry?
I have 3 younger sisters. Yeah. And he got remarried, like 10 months later. He got remarried really quickly.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we like moved to Southern California, and like, it was a lot of change all at once. And like, when you're a kid, you kind of, even if you understand what's going on, I don't think you fully understand. Like, I didn't realize that I didn't totally get it. I think part of me thought like, this is a movie. Like, we're in a movie. Yeah. This happens in movies. A bad movie. Yeah. But like, it doesn't really sink in until later. Like once all the changes are done and you're like, oh, my dad got married. We're in a wedding. Like, this is the scene where there's a wedding. Yeah. And then you get to a place where you're like, oh, I'm just in 5th grade and it sucks now. Like,
so were you the only child, and then he
gets... Oldest. I have 3 younger sisters.
I know, but we're all from the original mom?
Yes.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Wow, so that's like some Brady Bunch stuff there, Like, that's the one thing they never talked about. Those both parents, that their people died, I guess, on the Brady Bunch. You never hear what happened.
They never address it.
Oh, man.
That is so funny. Yeah, I don't even think I ever even thought about that with the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but yeah, my stepmom can't have kids, which we're like, score. Because we don't need any more.
You like your stepmom?
I do, yeah. Yeah, I do like her. And we had a tough relationship, like when they first got married.
I could imagine.
For the first few years.
You're not my mom.
Right. It wasn't like that. It was just she's very different. She's pretty much the opposite of my mom. And in a lot of ways that's been great. And she's really, she's a big reason I am who I am and like have the work ethic I do. And she's great for my dad. Like she and my dad have a much better relationship than my dad and my real mom did, I think.
Oh, wow.
Which is also a weird thing to kind of like deal with. So there's been a lot of stuff that I've been talking in therapy about that. And then we started doing EMDR therapy, which is this weird thing where you like go back and reprocess trauma so that you can come to different conclusions about yourself and your beliefs about yourself and your worth and all these different things, that's like really tough. That's tough to do. That's intense. But again, it's like,
so you bring up some drama that happened to you?
Yeah, like a specific memory you focus on, and they do this whole thing where they like put headphones on you and you have these like little buzzing things that you like tap and they like talk you through it. It's almost like meditative. It's like a very intense like meditative state.
That's wild.
And they talk you through it and there's beeping and it gets more intense and louder and then it comes and it's like you just leave every time feeling like you were, like that you closed your eyes for 2 minutes and it's been like 30 when you open it. It's very weird. And whenever we do it, she's always like, okay, so you don't have to do anything today, right? Like it's always like you can't like go from here to go do a show. Like, you know what I mean?
God.
So that was something I had to learn like the first couple times I did it where I'm like, oh, I got to take the rest of the day off to do this work.
It digs in that deep, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what about your boyfriend? Does he go too?
He's gonna start. He never really has. And he's now at a point where he's like, yeah, I think that would be good for me to do. I think everyone should go. I feel like that should just be a class in high school.
Yeah.
Is therapy. Just so everybody can figure out what their shit is.
Yeah, way better than pottery.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. Goddamn pottery.
Yeah.
And, in this day and age, it seems to be more depression than ever.
Yeah. Do you go to therapy?
I don't. No.
You don't?
Mostly because I don't think there's no fixing this.
You're like, I would never put this on someone, even a trained professional.
Well, I'm 53, and if you've got this far, you're just kind of like, well, I'm not married or anything, so I'm just lashing out at myself. Yeah, fuck you, man. You don't know.
That's so funny. You're like, why would I fix my issues? They're not hurting anyone else.
It's just me. But and I know I'm fucked up. But I just try to get myself through it. I have been microdosing psilocybin, and that's been helping big time. That's been helping over the last couple months. And I don't know, because I constantly go through this thing of like, yeah, I'm definitely unhappy, but then I'm happy a lot, and I think it's kind of natural.
Yeah.
Of how life is. If it was all good stuff, it would be kind of weird.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know. Just try to get up each day and stay positive, and then keep going.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have emotional extremes, or do you feel like it's more like, I get unhappy, but then, I go do shows and I see my friends and I'm better?
I definitely get unhappy, but I don't really have extremes. Like, I don't sit around and tell everybody about it. But my only unhappiness comes from lack of work. Nothing else. I have no problem being single, no kids, never been married. That's all. I'm an only child, so that comes from that, and I understand that. That's why I can't ever have roommates,
right,
or people living above me or anything. It's just like I'm in definitely my own world. But my constant thing is I don't have any gigs, and I need to be on stage to get funny and to work. And also, I get into those weird states of mind, like I'm doing all this work, but I'm not trying to get something, but I'm just trying to work. Right. I'm not trying to be famous or anything. I just want to work. I love doing it. So when you're doing all this work, you're like, why am I doing all this work? I can't even get booked. And then to start getting into that weird thing of like, fuck it, I'll just sit here. Then I got to snap out of that.
Right. Yeah.
And that's my only demon is not work, no work.
Right. I feel like you work a lot though.
I do work a lot.
It's just you're saying when it dips or you have.
I do work a lot at the clubs, but there's no, outside. I don't have any bookings of like clubs around the States.
Oh, like weekends?
Yeah,
That's what.
that's where to eat and to live.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a constant look around the apartment. Okay, I'm going to sell that right there.
Right. Yeah.
And that's also a lot to do with my my own problems too, because I want to live a certain lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have roommates and stuff. So yeah, I could easily have roommates, pay $500, and just. But I'm in my 50s.
Right.
And how unhappy are you going to be like that? You're just going to be like this. I'm a dirtbag. I'm 53. I got 3 roommates. I mean, you've done wrong.
Right.
Well,
and yeah, even if it does feel like a very 20s thing.
Yeah.
And like once you're past your 20s, you're kind of like, I don't want to deal with anyone else's bullshit. Like I want to come home and all my stuff's there.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone drinking my milk.
I've done art all my life, so it's just like I'm used to that.
Mm-hmm.
But before you could do art and still kind of survive because rent was like $750.
Right. Yeah.
And you'd be like, well, I can hustle. I can work some kind of side job for a weekend and have rent and then play music and keep going. But now, as everything goes up and up, I mean, look at this apartment. It doesn't pay for itself.
Right, yeah. It's a great apartment, yeah.
So you're constantly looking at your calendar going, wow, holes.
Right, yeah.
And that is all I focus on sometimes. Like, fuck. And then I don't like to bring it on my friend. Like I see Marin, like, how's it going? Nothing going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's like, I don't want to hear this guy shit again,
Right.
So you just kind of keep it in.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I get it. But I do know therapy's good for a lot of people, especially people that have rage issues. I don't have any rage issues.
Yeah.
That's always people that I really think should exercise like crazy. I go to the gym every day.
Oh, that probably helps a lot.
That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Big time. It gets your brain going and moving and eating clean.
Yeah.
I quit sugar 3 years ago. So.
Right, I've heard that about you.
Yeah.
That like something about juicing.
Yeah.
And you're like very against juicing or something.
I only juice green stuff.
Yeah.
That's
what it is.
You can juice that all you can, but if you juice anything else, it's the worst thing you can do.
Right, yeah. Which is so crazy because it used to be like, this is the best thing you can do.
Oh, yeah, like
all those
orange juice
cleanses and shit. Yeah.
How about orange juice? People are just drinking that every morning. That's like 5 oranges in one glass. You're going like, oh, man, that's so bad for you.
I know everything we were told, like everything I was told as like a kid about milk and orange juice and like all that. So you're like, oh, this was all the worst things that you could have been doing. It's
Absolutely.
So nuts now.
And the drugs turned out to be the best, like psilocybin and CBD and microdosing and shit. You're like, wait a minute, I've lived long enough to see the fucking tables turn. Orange juice is the demon.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I've never even thought about it like that, but yeah, that's so true.
How far did you get on Last Comic Standing? Because I never watched that show, but
I made top 10.
Wow!
Because I was 21. I think it's all casting. Like that's the thing. Like they started with 100. I think like 60 people from that first preliminary round of top 100 actually got on TV, whether it was 10 seconds or a minute. And yeah, I made it to the top 10 with like Francisco Ramos was in there. Ryan Connor, Ian Bagg, Andy Erickson, Michael Palisak, and there's a few. Oh, Clayton English, who won. I mean, look, anyone listening can look it up. But
was that the one where you had to live in a house?
No. That was way over.
So they retooled it. Yeah.
When I did it, it was the easiest it could. It was only sets. That was all it was.
Just a contest.
Just you go up and you do 3-4 minutes. And
different one every time?
Yeah, different one every time. But even if you got the most that you were going to do on the show was like 4 sets.
Right.
So, I mean, I did 3 because I didn't make it to top 5.
Yeah.
Like they got, when we got to top 10, they like paired us off to go against each other, and then Michael Palisak beat me out, which I was like, yeah, thanks for having me this far. Like I'm a child.
Yeah.
And
you got on TV.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And like, but yeah, it was a weird thing because it was hard to feel like, and I feel this way a lot, like less and less as I get further into the business. But you know, with that, I was kind of like, I mean, I wasn't like one of the top 10 best like it's a reality show.
Yeah.
It's a reality show. It's not all on merit. Like it's not who was the best comedian. Like, yes, I had good sets, but like I was 21 and that was the hook or whatever.
Absolutely.
And they portrayed me as like a church comedian, which I specifically was like, please don't do that.
Oh, of course they're going to do that.
Of course. And I was like, I'm really trying. I was like, if you guys, I was so naive. I'm like, if you guys want to do a backstory on me, like this is how I started, that's fine. But please don't like bill me as this church comic because I'm trying to move away. I just want to be a comedian. And they're like, yeah, totally. And then of course that like,
of course,
here's
this slot to fig.
Right.
Middle America will tune in for the church girl. Mm-hmm. Then we'll have the Asian community tune in for this person,
right, yeah.
and then the white community will like this guy. It's so it's so thought out. I always think of Sam Kinison when I started. It's like advice for new comics: don't do contests.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, because America is so dumb that they'll think, well, she's not funny because she didn't win. This guy's funny. Yep. Isn't that weird?
It's
Instead
so dumb.
of just, you know, judging on yourself of like, I don't care who won. I like this one.
Right.
They just go with that.
Yeah, and AGT had asked me to go in the same year, and I was supposed to go in for that, and then I got Last Comic, and I was like, well, I'd rather do this because this is just comedy. And then, like, after I was on Last Comic, AGT hit me up the next year, like, hey, great job on Last Comic. Do you want to do AGT this year? I'm like, no, I never want to do anything like this ever again. Are you kidding me? Like, no, not at all. And, like, AGT is, like... I don't know. I think they have a lot of producers that are always like putting out feelers, but like every year someone will hit me up like, you want to do AGT? And I'm like, I don't know who I got to email.
Yeah.
To say no.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I feel like I had one contest in me and that was it.
I don't have anything and I would say no.
Yeah, exactly.
I just like.
It doesn't set you up to do well. I mean,
not at all.
The people who do well on AGT, I'm so impressed with because that like, they can really fuck you over on that show.
With just edits and everything.
Yeah.
And you're just done. All your hard work. And then, you know, people are like, oh, I saw her. She was terrible.
Right.
Because they'll just show faces of the crowd with the, that kind of look. And then, you know, just grab this face here. That kind of stuff. And then the judges, no. And then you're just like, all your work.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, it's like self-sabotage. I mean, it's such a gamble to do. And Last Comic, I really felt like they didn't, at least the year I did it, I felt like they really didn't throw anybody under the bus. I don't know if I even really watched the show, to be honest, because I had a hard time watching myself. But they made it pretty clear while we were filming. They're like, we're not gonna put anybody bombing on the show. I think they might have like one time.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear about anybody getting like blasted on that show.
I think if you bomb, it's almost better.
You think?
Well, the people, they seem to talk more about a bomb.
That's true, yeah. And then everybody gets to go, I thought it was good.
I got to go see that guy. He bombed like crazy.
Right, yeah.
You know how many people kill in one night at the store, and then if somebody bombed, that's what you would hear about?
That's true. That's a good point. If you're just trying to stir up some heat.
Let's talk about your new show now. This is pretty cool. You're 24, 25?
25, yeah.
And you got a show with Fred Savage, who I grew up watching, The Wonder Years, which was a fantastic TV show when I was, I wasn't young when it was on, but it was just a really hip, real show. Mm-hmm. It's cool. So you have did you audition for this? How did you get approached on the show? And let's talk about what the show is, because you told me and I thought it was a cool premise.
Yeah, and to be clear, I mean, they cast me, and it is not my show. It's their like passion project. It's so smart and funny. But what happened was Conan was doing a benefit at the Avalon, I think, in LA, and asked me and Moses Storm to do it with him. And it was like not a room set up for comedy, and it's a benefit. And so like they're literally making you follow like these videos that are just heartbreaking, and
and the Avalon's huge.
Yeah, and it's huge, and you're just going up like, okay, I know we all just watched a video about a child's brain filling up with water, but how about we talk about dating? Like, it's just very weird. So that was like one of those gigs where, again, if you've done enough bad ones, you know how to power through it and act like it's going great, even if you're like, all right, I don't know how this is going because I can't hear anybody. And somebody who works in casting at Fox was there and saw me and was like, oh, I'm going to go look up all her stuff, looked up my stuff, and was like, reached out about me coming in. I thought it was just like a general meeting. And so I had been on the road a bunch, and I was just like, can we just tell them I'll meet with them like next month? Like,
there's general meetings. Yeah. It's like, no.
Nothing ever happens. Ever.
Oh, it's in Santa Monica at 4:30.
Yes.
Like, what? No, that's 3 hours.
Yeah.
I've gone to a meeting at Comedy Central, early on when I started. I drove all the way out there. I didn't know what a general meeting was. 6 people sitting around. Hey, so you got any show ideas or anything?
I mean, that sounds like a good general. 6 people in the room?
Yeah.
It's usually like 1 or 2 just going like, hey, we just had lunch. Like, it's just, you're just filling time.
It's like, what is this?
Oh, it's such a weird thing. So, yeah, I thought it was a general, so I was kind of trying to push it back. And then my reps got back to me and were like, yeah, no, they actually want you to come in to talk to you about a specific thing, and it's this project with Fred Savage. And so I went into Fox at like noon, met with like 6 people, and had kind of a general, but also they were like, let's show you this show. This is what we want you for. And then like a couple hours later went and did like a chemistry read audition with Fred.
Whoa. Did you have the lines before? Or?
It was improv. It was just
that's
improv.
Great. I love
it was
that.
great. Yeah.
Oh, man, it's so awesome.
Yeah. I think they sent me like example dialogue because I'm sure they had people coming in who weren't comedians. But it was like, they're like, you can pick like one or whichever of these, premises or scenarios you want to improv. And like one of them was like, you got the job, you're his co-host, but you don't know who he is or anything about his career. And so I just picked that one, and we just did it for like 20 minutes or something. So silly and fun. I was like, even if I don't get that was fun. And then like a couple days later they called me and were like, yeah, you got it, and they're gonna start filming it in a couple weeks. So it was very quick. And again, that just came out of like me doing a benefit that someone happened to be at. So that, like, things like that are super helpful for me too, because like I hate auditioning for stuff.
The worst.
I mean, it feels like a general to me in that like I pretty much, I don't go on a lot, and the ones I do go on, I make sure I'm like, this is realistic for me to get. Like, if anybody sends me one that's like, do you want to go in for this yoga instructor? I'm like, they're not going to give that to me. So just send me one when they need someone to like, I don't know, eat pizza and say something sarcastic.
Do your reps get angry with you? Like, you just got to go in.
They don't get angry with me, but I have felt sometimes they're kind of like, I mean, it would be good if you did. Like, there's kind of that thing where like, I've definitely gone on auditions before where I'm like, I'm just doing this so I don't appear ungrateful.
Yeah.
But
or difficult to work with.
Yes.
Taylor's difficult to work with.
Right, exactly. So this was great because I got this job as a direct result of stand-up, which is like all I've ever gotten from anything. It's all from stand-up. It's all because I can do stand-up, and it just made me go like, oh, I just need to, I don't need to be freaking out about trying to act and things. Like, I just need to focus on what I'm good at. And like, if other things fall into place, that's great. And if not, it is what it is. But the show is called What Just Happened. And it's basically like a parody of The Talking Dead. It's an after show about a fake show that's based on a fake book series. So they made up a book series, and then they filmed like 9 scenes from this fake show. And it looks like a real show. Every episode of our show starts with a clip from this fake show that they filmed as if it's ending and ours is starting. and then it's just ridiculous. The whole show's a bit. The whole show's a bit, and
then you have guests on, right?
Right, and then the only part that's like real is like celebrities will come on, do an interview. They'll like buy into the bit, like at the beginning and the end, where they're like, "Oh, I love the flair," or like at the end they'll go, maybe they have like a little bit of dialogue we need to move along our story from our show. But the actual interview is just like a late night talk show interview where they are like promoting something or
oh wow,
like Rob Lowe's like, yeah, you can come see me live.
So it's like tour. A Conan. For them, it's another place, like a press junket spot. That's kind of cool.
It's like
too.
I think it's a good way for Fox to like cross promote.
Yeah,
for them to be like, okay, now we'll have someone from Modern Family on, or we'll have this person on, and they can talk about their, animated show that they're doing on Fox.
Yeah.
So.
And so it's on now on what, Sundays?
It's on Sundays, yes, on Fox at 9:30, and then it's on Hulu the next day, which when we were filming, they're like, yeah, it's going to be on Fox at 9:30 on Sundays. I'm like, okay, now where is it going to be that I can send people I know to? Because nobody has TV, and they're like, it'll be on Hulu on Mondays. I'm like, great, perfect.
Yeah. That's the spot. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
What about you did a Netflix 15, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, are you doing a half hour or anything?
We're working on it.
Yeah, so half hour or hour?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, but the 15,
That's all I want to do.
Yeah, 15s were great. Oh. I don't know if they're gonna do it again.
I know.
But and the half. You easily do the half hour. Those are. I think the half hour is a little more. Like the 15 minutes. Whose did I watch? I think I watched Mateo Lane's, and it was so quick.
Yep.
It was so fat. I was like, oh my gosh, because of any special, no matter how long it's
just a Comedy Store set.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And the first and last minute are credits and walk-ups.
Yep.
So it's really only 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is fast. Whereas the half hours feel a little bit more okay, you get to settle into Kyle Kinane or whoever it is. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if they're gonna continue doing the 15s, but it seems like the half hours they're pretty committed to those, and they did the Degenerates.
Yep. Yeah.
Which I heard did well.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So they do more themed ones.
Yeah, I think they should do more themed because it drives people to it instead of just having. Here's special number 7,000.
Right, exactly. Like the Comedians of the World ones. Were those half hours or 15?
I think those were half hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to JFL this year?
I'm not. No, I'm doing the Vodafone Comedy Festival in Dublin.
Oh, I heard that's good.
Fahim
went last year.
Did he?
He told me it was good.
Oh, that's great. I'm excited.
Yeah, he told me it was good. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, but it's the same weekend as JFL. Last year, I went for Variety's Top 10, and Sam J was on it too, and she went to Vodafone instead of JFL.
Right.
So.
I saw you there last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how.
Yeah.
What made me
Are you
think.
going this year too?
I'm not. I'm doing the Cellar in Vegas.
Oh, there you go. That's a good room.
Oh, I love it.
For Vegas?
I love it.
Oh, man.
I've done it 4 times, I think. And I would do it every 6 weeks. And
really?
I hate Vegas.
Yeah.
But the amount of work I get done there, it's a great just workshop because I don't gamble, smoke, or drink. Mm-hmm. So I'm in my room actually working. Then I go downstairs, do the sets, listen to them, retool it the next day. I'm excited to go on again.
Yeah.
And the gym's okay, and it's I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And I try to do it as much as I can.
And we can drive out there.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing.
Exactly.
Who have you worked with there? Because they've had last weekend I've only done it twice, I think, because I haven't really had time, but Colin Quinn was on it last time with Judah
cool.
Freelander
and
I was there the last time going, what the fuck am I doing on this lineup? There were so many good Dave Attell came for 2 of the nights. It was crazy.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I've done it with Keith Robinson, who's one of my great friends, so that was awesome. I can't even remember. I did it with Mateo. I did it with Ricky Velez.
Oh yeah,
that was fun. And Jessica.
Oh yeah, she's so funny.
Yeah, she's great. So we had a great weekend out there, and it's fun. I really like it. And
it's far for New York people.
I know
that's far for us. It's
Yeah.
Fake.
I was going out from New York because I was out there.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'd fly out, but I didn't mind it because then I'd fly to LA at the end and then do the Comedy Store for a couple weeks, then go back to New York and then do road dates or whatever I could do.
Yeah.
So it worked out good. Well, thanks for doing the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Super cool. You got any dates coming out? This will be out Monday.
Yes. This will be out Monday. I'm at the Des Moines Funny Bone this weekend, the 18th through the 20th. And then I'm in Dublin the 25th through the 27th, if you're in Dublin. And then the week after that, August 2nd and 3rd, I think it is, I'm in Santa Barbara at Comedy Hideaway.
What's that?
There's this room. It's like a club in Santa Barbara, and they weren't doing it for a while. They did it like a while back, and I think they reopened it like in this last year. Called Comedy Hideaway.
Oh, I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah, and they're doing, I think they do like 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, if you want, I'll give you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do that.
Probably love to have you. Yeah.
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 Spin up there.
Yeah, that's
and
not.
You got a website?
Yes, ttomcomedy.com. For all that.
T-Tom?
T-Tom, yeah, TTOM comedy. Whoever had TaylorTomlinson.com sends you to TomlinsonMotors.com, and they will not sell me Taylor Tomlinson.
Whoa.
I don't know why.
Wow.
But they won't give it to me. So, yeah, T-Tom is like more of a nickname, and I just made that my website like years ago. It was like a lot of comics were calling me T-Tom.
Well, thanks for doing the show. Oh, and your podcast.
Oh yeah, I have a podcast called Self-Helpless where we dissect self-help and self-improvement topics and figure out whether or not we think it's bullshit. And most of the time we're just buying into it because we're 3 white ladies. But did Kelsey decide not to get married now too? No, Kelsey's getting married this week.
Because you guys got
2 days.
engaged like at the same time, right?
No. She got engaged a year ago, and actually
wow.
they've been together for 7 years.
Oh,
and
there
they
you go.
went through, like, it's so dumb that I even did this because I had such a perfect example of like they got engaged really early when they got together, and then we're like, oh, this is a little too soon, and like, you know, we're together for like 6 years and then got re-engaged.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I had a good friend who
did the same thing.
And I still did it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You think like, oh, I have older, wiser friends and I'll learn from, you know, what they did.
Different.
And I don't.
They're different than me.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Not at all. But yeah, they're you know, they're so solid and they've been together for a long time and they're getting married on Thursday. So that'll be fun.
Well, we made it through the podcast with no earthquake.
I know. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I can't even.
Those were some cookers, huh?
Yeah. Well, I was in New York for one of them.
Oh, I was in, I was in Denver for the second one. So I was home and then I flew to Denver the next day and another one hit.
Yeah.
Bigger. Yeah.
I was in the car for that one getting home from New York and I didn't feel it because we were driving.
Oh man, I was in the bed over there at 10:30 in the morning. I was like,
my gosh.
At first I thought, hey, who the fuck's on my roof?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I got up. I was like, who's on the roof?
Yeah.
I'm yelling, who's out there? It's Mother Nature.
I just don't want to have the like big one. That's like what I'm afraid of is that like one where they're like, it's going to be a 9 and we're all going to die. And you're like, great, cool. Hope that wasn't like a precursor. That wasn't Mother Nature going, you dummy, you live here.
Yeah, I think we'll be good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Definitely helps. And check out the Patreon channel, patreon.com/Dean Del Rey. And go to my website, Dean Del Rey, for all the tour dates. I'll be in Texas, a lot of Texas with Marin next month. And some headline dates all over the place. Check it out. And, of course, the Comedy Cellar. See ya.